delighted to see, we said now, we've never done this before, so we have no idea if this would even bring anybody's interest or if we were gonna sit here and just chat. But I am really, really pleased to see so many people out. It's really important to be involved in your local politics and local council, because that's where you can make a difference in this community, is at the council. So tonight we decided, I don't know if we decided, what happened is, kind of, right? I was asked to sit at her seat at the table in Brandon, and it was to encourage women in politics, and I was delighted to go and spend some time there. And when I came home, I thought we should be doing something here. We should be saying it's important for everyone to know what the council does, whether you want to run or not run, and what the responsibilities are, and what we are to do, and what Leo's position is, and so on. So tonight, I'm going to ask each of the council to introduce themselves, and they can say how many years they've been on council, and they could also maybe say what brought them to the council table, like why did you run? We can start with that. So I could start at one end or the other. Mike looks like he really wants to do this. Rob,
You're up, man.
I'm going to start with I'm going to start with Rob.
Okay, I'm Rob Adams. I'm sure you all know who I am, and I'm sorry about my voice, but it's springtime and that's what happens. So on council, we sit on individual committees, and then there's some committees that we are all at large, like say streets and sidewalks. But the first one that I've got down is Turtle Mountain Cirrus Plains Association, and we just had our annual seminar today in Delray, and we meet once a month and try to go to different places each month. So when we go to a different town or place, we'll tour museums or churches and stuff like that before we have our meeting. So, and then we have the meeting, and what we work on is additions of vantage points. I'm sure you've all seen parts of them. There's 6 of them out now. And then we also have put out films. One was on the Turtle Mountains, and one was on Whitewater Lake, and the other one was on the Weather Barn at Hartney. So those were interesting to work on. And I took part in the Whitewater film, explaining the harm of the lake growing so much. So that was one of the segments in it. And then another board that I sit on is the Pembina Valley Watershed District. We have 2 meetings a month, and 2 sub-district meetings per year. I chair the sub-district, which allows me to sit on the board. The sub-district is the Upper Pembina. It's just east of us and goes so far north. So I sit on the local Grow Committee, which we disperse the money for the programs such as shallow wetlands, water retention, rock crossings, erosion control, fencing and watering, shelter belts, saline acre enhancement. And there's more, and if you want to have a look at them, they're all in this brochure. But it allows us to spend the money that the government put in a fund, and we spend the interest each year. So you pick out your programs that you want to do, and you pick out the applications, and then you decide on which is going to get which, and then you apply for that amount of money. And in the last 4 years, since GROW started, Pembina Valley Watershed District has put out $4 million to producers and landowners. And this year, the sub-district budget is $261,000, and 200 of that is coming back to Boissevain-Morton in water retention, rock crossings, and other projects. we were pretty happy with that. And then a part of the Grow Committee, there's a federal fund that is put out, and under it, there's rotational grazing, cover cropping, soil testing, equipment upgrading, and more. We have and then I also, as a kind of a side project, I took on a project at the Lorna Smith property, and we've planted 1,350 some odd trees and developed a walking trail at that property. And Herman, Dick, and I look after cutting the grass and the trail and keeping the weeds down around the trees. So Herman is also the vice chair of the Pembina Valley Subdistrict. Then I am on the landfill, recycling, and lagoon committees. We meet a couple times a year and more if it's needed. We set the budget for the year. We look after the equipment. Eric's good at keeping us in tune as what should be done with equipment. And now we're looking at the future for recycling, what's gonna happen there. And once a year we have an appreciation supper. The one year we put it on ourselves, we cooked it ourselves, and the whole council participated in serving it and preparing it, so that was great. But the last couple of years we've gone to, we took them out for supper. And I have been on the health recruitment since it started, and I will say it was my idea to bring that to the floor of council 20-some years ago. And we just continually look for people to replace the people that are retiring or moving on or maternity leave. So it's a great committee, and they're working hard. I kind of stepped back from the chair, and Kenny Pringle and Leslie Turner have really stepped up and doing a great job. So we're happy with that. And just a few of the other things that you do that you're not on a committee, you just volunteer to do. And I volunteered to be on the Aquatic Center Committee, and we sat as the committee that planned it and what the structure would look like, and kind of have a counselor to keep it on budget. And I'm happy to say that that was budgeted within a few dollars. It was great. And another project that I took on a few years ago was we revamped the lower part of the campground. We redid the campsites. We added some, and now we've taken one away. But we added electrical. There was water at them. And then farther to the west of that, we developed a tenting area and a bit of a parking spot for people that were visiting people in the camping ground. And then when we did that, we continued on revamping the first row of trailers, their sewer, their electrical, and fixed that all up, because there was, at times, the breakers were blowing and stuff like that. So I'm proud to say that I've been 24 years on council. I think the last 12 years, we have really accomplished a lot. So I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of the people that I work with. And why I wanted to be on council at the time, I was asked to join, and then I thought it would be nice to do something to make Boissevain and Morton a better community to live. And I think we've done that. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Eric?
Okay, I was asked twice to join council, and the first time I turned him down. Mayor Red come to me, and I was still had my business, and at that time I didn't want to do both. When I retired or got close to it, then he asked me, and I decided, yeah, I'd do that. I was raised that if you live in a community, you have to put something back into it. So this is what I chose. I'm on other committees now too, but I'll give you a brief rundown of what committees I'm on. I'm on the Cherry Creek Board. I'm appointed by council to be on that board. I'm on the Wildlife Museum Board, Beckoning Hills Museum, Recycling and Landfill, the Equipment Board, which is all our equipment for the RM in the town, Civic Center, and on the Asset Management. And there's a possibility I've missed one too.
They kind of get carried away, they get, yeah.
You
Run
do it
together.
and you don't think about it. I've been on council, this will be my 16th year, I think, this year, in October. So I enjoy doing what I do. It's interesting. It's challenging. There are days that you wonder why you do it. But for the most part, we got a good group to work with. And when you look at the end of the year, at what we've accomplished and what our goals were, you look back the last 5 years, we've probably accomplished just about everything that we have put on for our goals. If not, then it has moved up further. So we've done a lot. People don't see it. We're busy and we do it and enjoy it.
Good, thanks, Eric. David?
Yes, I'm David Stead. I emigrated to Canada with my lovely wife and family in October of 1982. What got me interested was in the UK, I was a parish councillor, and that came about because my dad was a parish councillor, and then over there, when you're in a village, you don't get to be a mayor if you're head, you get to be chairman of the council. And I was pretty proud of my dad because that's what he was. So when he passed away, I ran for 5 years. Then I came to Canada, and the neighbours got talking sometime, and the neighbours said, well, you've been on council over there, why don't you be on council over here? Well, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. But anyway, I couldn't anyway, because you've got to be at least 3 years in before you can be a citizen. I was landed immigrant. So I actually ran the first time in 1991, and I can't remember, I think it was 2002 maybe, when I ran for Reeve, and I got defeated, but there was a few months later there was resignation, so I got back in again, and I've really enjoyed it. Probably my proudest moments was when I was asked to be head of council when head quit prematurely, and I enjoyed that, but it was hard with the work I'd tied up too, and Judy knows that it takes a lot of time to be head of council, but I was happy to be on council. When we started a retail store, my wife said, well, you may have to quit council. I said, why? Well, people are going to be ticked off with you, you know, they won't be coming to the store because you're getting them upset. And I said, well, my belief is if you do your best, for every person that you know, you're going to have at least 2 people that appreciate it, and I think that ratio is even more than that. Yes, we've had differences. Yes, there's always the professional in the coffee shop who, when you say, well, why don't you run for council, they never want to, but they have all the answers. But all in all, it is rewarding. And like they said, the community made me welcome when we came here all those years ago. And we felt at home right away, and it, you know, it's been great. I really have enjoyed making decisions and hopefully help the community. Right now I'm on the library committee, and I'm on the wildlife museum committee, I'm on the cemetery committee, and recycling and landfill. And like as we're saying, there's other committees you get called into or you go to, or something crops up, but all in all, if any of you guys are interested, I think you'll find it very worthwhile.
Thank you, David. Rhonda?
Good evening, everybody. Nice to see such a good crowd out tonight for this exciting event. I'm Rhonda Copeland. I've been on 12 years. This is my 12th year. I spent 16 years prior to that on the school board and thought I'd retire from that, and then I jumped right into this because I had some people that signed all my papers and got them ready for me. So I said, okay, but why did I run? I have 2 reasons why I ran. I've been in an elected position since grade 7, I think, because I started in the school, was president of the school and did all that stuff through university. And I have a political science degree, so I'm kind of that political nerd that everybody, you know, stays up and watches election results till midnight and 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is. So I'm very politically active and always have been, and my dad was a councillor as well. And also my motto in Boissevain is the best place to live, work, and play. And so that's what we work for every day that we're in here. And I want it better than I found it. So that's been my motivation. And I'm on all kinds of committees. I'm on a couple provincial boards as well. So never a dull moment. Thank you.
Thanks,
No,
Rhonda.
never
She's
dull
also a member of, she represents Western Area for AMM, which is our association for municipalities. She neglected to say that, so we're
I still want
delighted.
to
Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad that she does represent us.
For sure.
George?
Good evening, George Heidi. Been on for almost 8 years now, and I was encouraged to run as a councillor. I guess some people thought I had some potential, as little as there was, but we began Cherry Creek Place 11 years ago, and that was a stepping stone, I guess, to knowing others that saw some potential in me, and I appreciate the confidence that was given to me at the time of getting into this position. It's been very rewarding. I've learned incredible amount of information. You know, when you grow up only farming and not giving really too much care about anything else because it's so busy on the farm, you are a little naive about what's going on in the rest of the, especially in your community, because you're only farming. So I've learned so much about what all needs to happen in a community that functions as good as we do. And we've been a great council, and it's been an honor to be a part of this council. I've done a number of positions. I mentioned Cherry Creek. I've been chairman there for 11 years. That's an ad hoc, just a volunteer position that I'm doing. But I've been on fire department, been on the Civic Center earlier, and doing a number of other options that are not as busy but involved. David and I were quite instrumental in not just us, but we were in charge of the gravel pit. What's happening there now, and that's going to be a great project going forward for this whole municipality as far as infrastructure. And we've done a number of joint groupings of councillors to make things happen, and sometimes you just jump into something when it comes up, and those are fun things to do, and also rewarding, because you do a deep dive into a certain subject and then get it done, right? Those are easier actually than doing something all year long that's just an everyday happening. Like I said, this is the 8th year now, and yeah, it's been good, so.
Great. Thank you, George. Mike?
Just carry on.
No, Mike, you have to be part of it.
You're last.
I'm Mike McCollum. I am the youngest one and the shortest tenured one on here. I think, like my experience, I think you need something personal to make you drive to do this. Because it can be frustrating, it can be rewarding. But you need something to pique your interest. And I'm not gonna reveal why I joined, but I think I'm winning.
That's good.
I got thrown into the fire on a couple committees. I'm the chairman of the Legion Board, the chairman of the Rec Board. I'm on the cemetery board. equipment board, and just because you're on certain committees doesn't mean you're not involved with all the other committees.
That's right.
Like, we do talk about everything. Like, it's amazing what goes on behind the scenes until something is built or run or established. The planning is unreal. And like, nobody really sees that until it's completed. I think I'm winning.
Well, you are winning. I'm Judy Swan. I'm mayor, head of council, whatever you refer. I was on council in Saskatchewan before I moved here, and I ended up on council because I went to a council and I had an issue with something that they had done. And so I had made an appointment and I went and I talked to them about why would you have decided it that way and what prompted you to make that decision. And the mayor stood up and he said, if you don't like the decisions made at this table, then why don't you run for council? I thought, good idea. So I did, and I was on council in Saskatchewan for 6 years and then moved here. And it was just, if you want to be involved in the community, you want to get to know what's going on, it's really amazing to see behind the scenes as to what happens. People think that there isn't a lot to it. In some months, it seems like, oh, we got through that month and it wasn't that bad, and then the next month it becomes a lot. Doesn't it, Leo? Yeah. So I guess what I would say, though, is that if you're thinking of running for council, probably the reason that I ran is probably not the best reason to run. You should want to do it because it means something to you. Like it's for you, for this community, because it's a great way to get to know what goes on behind the scenes. So today we're just going to go through this, and if you have any questions at any time, for heaven's sakes ask, because this is for you, and this is just to let you know what our council does. The importance of local government is that we have certain things that we can do, and there are things that we shouldn't do. And I guess that is one of the things that we learned. You know, you go into a council and you think, well, I'm going to change this, or that employee I don't like, or this person if you think that way, this isn't the one for you, because as a council, these are the things that we do. This is what the municipality does. So, like waste and environmental services, I'm telling you, we've been working on that baby since the beginning of time, and we will eventually have a lagoon, is my understanding. We hope. Infrastructure and public works, and that again is, it's ongoing. You know, we do have a beautiful community, but we absolutely need to look after what's under the streets. We have to look after the roads. We have to look after the infrastructure. It's not always about how beautiful the community. It's about, does it work right? You know, are the roads okay? Are things good? And you know, we're lucky to have people like Doug and the other foremen and that we have here, and the staff that we have that know how to keep this thing going. We do water services, recreation and culture. That's ongoing, and that's certainly a big one for everyone. Safety and emergency services. Planning and development is probably the biggest one that we do, is planning and development. The council does, they're the ones that set the plan. It isn't the employees, it's the council. So we do a strategic plan, which we've done. We've gone through it. We keep going back at every once in a while, you pull it out and you have a look, and you are amazed at how much in that strategic plan that you've done. So normally when you have a new council, you'll set a new strategic plan, and you'll figure out how you want to move forward after the next election. So that's really a big one. Community and social support, there's that. So those are the bare things that the municipality does. I guess the next thing, I think if you want to go to the next slide, this looks really bad, and I think it's in your packages. I thought it was interesting to give everyone, this is an agenda for a council meeting. And you think, good grief, you look at it and it's dreadful looking. But when you get into it and you start going through it, everything on here has to be dealt with. You either deal with it, you either pass a resolution, you table it till the next meeting, but you can't just skip over it and say, well, we don't want to deal with that today. Today, we have to go through the agenda. So we have a meeting every 3 weeks right now. Lots of councils have one a month. Some of them have 2 a month. We've looked at it and decided that every 3 weeks, at the time right now, we meet in the morning. We start at 8, and we get real crabby if we're not done by noon, right, guys? So we try to be done by noon, because I don't think you should be having an 8-hour day of this. I don't think that works well. We have special meetings. Things will come up, and I can call a special meeting at any time if something happens that we need to be dealt with. We do, aside from these, we do our meetings to set our budget. So we're in the midst of that now. We've had some budget meetings, and we're going to finish that budget. So normally it's once every 3 weeks, but so if you want to have a look at that, and then on the other page is actually the minutes from this meeting. So you can have a look and see, okay, that was dealt with. This is, I start every meeting asking if there is a declaration of conflict of interest, because as a councillor, you have to be careful that you don't have a conflict of interest. And we have, sometimes some of our councillors have said, yes, I do. And if you get to that place, they excuse themselves. It happens, and it's great, because that's what needs to happen. So I ask at every meeting at the beginning if you do. What else is in here? In this, we have in-camera sessions at every meeting as well. So apart from this, there's the in-camera. There are very few things. There are certain things that you can go in-camera for. Our meetings are public. People never choose to come, but they are televised, and I hope people do watch them sometimes. But there are things that can't be discussed yet because they're in preliminary stages, and we can't talk about it until we've made decisions on it. So that's, you'll see in here, you go in camera, and then once you've finished your in camera, you move back out and you come back to the regular meeting. Make sense? Am I missing? So far, we're good? So, council meetings always have an agenda. We always have an agenda. We always have recorded minutes, and we review the minutes at that meeting of the previous meeting, and we pass those minutes. We have formal voting rules that we have to follow by the provincial government and other, those are the way it works. So we have open meetings with specific exceptions. We are very respectful. This is an amazing council, by the way. We've come together, and we're from very different backgrounds, very different things that we know and that we do. But when you've got a municipality that's rural and urban mixed, it is really good to have both representative, and that's why it's nice to have rural and urban both sitting on this council. But we are at large. So in some municipalities, you have a ward system. We don't here. We are at large. And simply because once you are elected to this board, you are responsible for everything, not just your ward, not just in town, not just rural. You make the decisions for the entire municipality. So that's why this council has chose to be at large, and that's what it's called. So when we vote, the top ones will become the new councillors. That's how that works. Any questions so far? not losing people. And residents can participate by speaking as a delegation, and very often you'll see in the agenda, there'll be a delegation attending. We usually allow 15 minutes is what we usually allow for a delegation, because it can get really complicated when there's way too much. They can come as a delegation, they can submit correspondence. You can watch the live stream or the archived videos. You can attend any open house. We have, every time we do a budget, we have a public meeting. Everyone is welcome to attend. Leo goes through the public meeting, through the budget with us, with everyone, so that you have an opportunity to look at that. We ask you, if we're sending out surveys, to complete the surveys. And you can also join advisory committees. We have some advisory committees, so if you're interested in something other than even on council, there's that. And your participation helps shape the decisions. As a council, we have made some decisions that we had to backtrack, and I'm good with that. We talked about one of the decisions, we had some delegations come. They talked to us about that decision that we made, and we looked at it and we talked about it after. We did some more research on it, and we reversed that decision. We actually came back and said, you know, you're right, that we didn't do enough research on that. We didn't have enough information to make that decision. So that's a good counsel, I believe, to say, you know what, you're right. Like, because we work for you. That's what we do. As a council, we represent what you want, and you get that by voting the people that you want have on council. That's basically how that works. All right, what else have we got here?
Can I ask a question to you?
For sure.
So one of the things in your circle was planning and development.
Right.
And I remember an event at the Legion Hall with a consulting group from Winnipeg, and whatever happened to that?
There were several we had. Which one were we, where you?
Well, it happened in stages, and you came back and looked at the posters and you talked.
Oh,
to them.
that was our zoning.
The
The
development plan.
development plan. So every municipality has to have a development plan, and we hadn't had one for a long time. So we started and we did a development plan. And so it is now on the books. We have a finished development plan for Boissevain-Morton. And that's why we had the open house. We had a consultant come in. They talked to us about, there are different places in the municipality that we wanted them to look at and maybe do some changes, maybe make some additions. Even in town, there were some things. We did a lot of changes because it hadn't been upgraded for a long time. So we did that, and it is now part of Boissevain-Morton. And then having done that, then we realized the zoning goes along with that. So then we had to spend a little time doing the zoning, because we want to make sure that when someone applies to do something, the zoning matches the development plan, right? You can't, otherwise it gets really off keel.
So I just noticed in your minutes about the walking path idea that Don Enbright was putting forward.
Right.
So what's the best way for someone interested in knowing what the plans are to access that information?
Oh, the plans are here. They're
Just
they're
not
available.
And they're on the website.
They're on the website.
Okay.
So if you want to go onto the Boissevain-Morton website, they're all on there. Yes, Dawn came and to that one meeting and talked to us about it. We at that time said that we are in favor of it, but we haven't got the finance to put towards it because we're doing the sidewalks downtown. We're there, you know, we have priorities. But
Because
if you,
we're not Altona and Winkler.
because we're not Altona Winkler, right? That's exactly right. We want to be someday. We're gonna grow up to be that, but right now, we have to do the priorities, and that's one of the things that happens when we do our budget. We do all the priorities of what are we gonna do in the next year, what are we doing in 5 years, what are we doing for 10 years? And it doesn't necessarily happen that way, like we hope that it does, but something will come up. And then it's like, well, if we're gonna do this, what are we gonna take away from this? So you have to go like that, and that's kind of where we're at.
And Dawn's gonna come back to us with the survey results.
Yeah.
We asked that he do, get more information and bring it back to us, so there has been nothing final on it, but he'll be back in council pretty soon, I suspect.
Yeah, we certainly weren't opposed, but we said, absolutely. Okay, so what else have we got here? Okay, so council decides what the municipality will do. So this is the difference between administration and council. So council represents the public interest. We set the policies and the long-term vision. We pass everything, it's passed by bylaws. You can't just, you have to have a bylaw. We approve the budget. This council is the one that approves the budget, makes decisions collectively, hires and evaluates the CAO. The CAO is our only employee. We hire a CAO. He has the rest of the employees. We're the ones that Leo is our only employee. So, yes, he loves that idea, I'm sure. But anyway, it works well. But it is, because if you think you're going to do something different than that, that won't happen. That's what council is by law legislated to do. And so the administration it's led by the CAO in this case. He runs the day-to-day operations, manages the staff and the infrastructure and services, provides technical expertise, which is nice, ensures legal compliance, and implements council decisions. So once a decision is made at the council level, Leo then has that decision by a bylaw or and he'll go to the staff and say, council has decided that this decision, so this is where we're gonna go with it. That's how this works. Do you wanna add anything to that, or did I miss?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. First off, I'm Leo
Sorry, you
Coolan,
should have
the
introduced
CAO. I've been CAO for 8 years here and working for the municipality for 10 years now. I'll just dive right into my job as CAO. It's very complex. I find it's almost like working in two different worlds. First is in the council chambers. Here I'm responsible to council for the overall administration, financial management, and human resource management for the municipality. The other is overseeing and implementation and delivery of council-approved programs and services carried out by myself and my department staff. And we ensure that the programs and services are delivered to all the residents and ratepayers in a manner that makes the most efficient and effective use of our staffing resources, infrastructure resources, and most importantly, our financial resources. I've always prided myself on providing high-quality leadership to both council and staff. I have a strong financial background, and I pride myself on my ability to obtain best value for dollar principles throughout our entire organization. Listening is very important at both levels. Having a strong working relationship with both council and staff is essential. I also have to have a very strong working relationship with the head of council, as there's a lot of ongoing issues that come up that typically before it goes to council at whole is dealt with between the mayor and CAO. I also find as well being highly adaptable is important. Implementing new processes, procedures is critical to stay current with our always changing times. I too pay taxes, so I'm always trying to implement and maximize the best value that we can for the taxpayer dollars that we collect for the municipality. When we're for council, I prepare agendas for all the meetings, municipal meetings. I prepare the public hearings, ensure the agenda packages are provided to council, prepare resolutions, bylaws, policies for a meeting of council. I attend all the regular, special, and committee meetings, prepare the meeting minutes, ensure all the required bylaws and resolutions are in place and up to date, ensure all the records of the municipality are retained in accordance with regulation and legislation, complete all documents, agreements, contracts as approved by council, provide updates, options, scenarios, reports to council to assist council in their decision making, and I delegate tasks as appropriate. With each department, I meet regularly with staff, as Doug would attest to here, to review, monitor, evaluate, and recommend changes to our programs on an ongoing basis to ensure relevancy and effectiveness. I recommend to council new initiatives, changes to programs and services, changes to our organizational structure that will improve efficiency and service delivery. I answer all public requests, inquiries, ensure a high standard of service to ratepayers and citizens. I'm responsible for the overall administration of the municipality in accordance with plans, policies, programs, bylaws, regulations established by council and also by various provincial and federal statutes. I prepare and present options for the annual financial plan, for the budget, for council's consideration, which includes a general operating budget, a capital budget, a utility budget, and a 5-year plan. Throughout the year, I monitor the financial plan, including the preparation of monthly financial statements, annual statements, and cash flow projections as required. I provide council with up-to-date financial information and on a regularly and timely basis, identifying any exceptions and as necessary options to manage those exceptions. I ensure the accurate records and books are kept of all the financial affairs of the municipality, such as payables, receivables, tax collection, water billing collection, payroll, monthly bank statements, investments. I ensure that all the municipality's expenditures receive necessary approval prior to payment is issued, provide the province with financial information and reports as required by legislation. I hire and manage the municipality's auditors. We apply for grants and constantly review processes to improve efficiencies and save money for the municipality, all while managing our services. I administer obviously the municipal taxation as well as our utility water billing program to ensure our annual operating is in good order. Our capital infrastructure is being kept up to date as much as possible, all while being as effective as possible. I am responsible for the management of all municipal employees, including training, evaluation, promotion, transfer, and dismissal of employees. I develop appropriate communication procedures to ensure that all employees are informed regarding the policies and directions set out by council. And we deal with a lot of ongoing projects and special projects from start to finish, working with contractors, consultants, committees, staff, council, to ensure that they are achieved as optimal as possible. The list is endless, as you could already probably tell. As the CAO, I'm the direct link between council direction and staff implementation. So of course, there's problems that arise from services, whether it be through ratepayers, from staff, or from council. I kind of act as the liaison and communicate throughout the organization to ensure we're all working as well as possible and things are moving as fluid as possible. Many times issues arise from different services, and the first person to get the call is a member of council, or sometimes it's the reverse. We anticipate, oh, there's something that's come up as a staff member, it's brought to my attention, and then I right away will constantly be updating council on on the relevance or the heads up on the situation, just so that there's awareness all throughout the organization. It's an ongoing process, and there's always room for improvement, but I believe we made the appropriate strides to try to keep everyone on the same page. Then there are changes from departments, from provincial department changes and regulations, and even federal changes, and we must act and react quickly and usually within a certain time frame. I find it very time-consuming but very rewarding position as a CAO, as you see projects all the way through from planning to financing to managing and then executing. As I just mentioned, it's critical to have a strong working relationship with the head of council, with council as a whole, my staff, and in many cases, I am the last line of defense for the municipality. So being knowledgeable and awareness is very critical, as we have much to do and so little time to action things. Because of all these things that I mentioned, items and priorities are constantly being triaged, and ultimately I have to make many decisions on the fly. I do my very best to keep council up to date, so that there are no surprises and that they can make the best decisions as possible for the best interests of the municipality. So I guess I'll take my CAO hat off and put the senior election official hat on, if that's all right.
Yeah, there's one thing I want to
Sure.
talk about, is this level of government is the only government that has to balance the budget. So, I mean, that's important to know, because every level of government passes it down, and that's how that works. But this level, you have nowhere to pass it to. So as a municipal government, that's a big thing. And the other thing that we do is the deputy mayor, we rotate it. I do. You don't have to, but every couple of months, everyone gets an opportunity to be deputy mayor, so that they sit in on the meetings with the mayor, they go to any of the things so that you get an idea of what there is. But under the standard government model, followed by Manitoba, the mayor serves as the spokesperson for the municipality and presides over meetings, ensuring discussions follow rules of order, and they do not have the executive authority on their own. And decisions are made collectively by the council. A majority vote determines that. So even you're the mayor, often you get the call because you're the mayor and they think you can fix everything, and you cannot, but it is, I just pass it on and say, no, that's actually the council's job. No. Anyway, just so you know that the mayor is just the chair of the meeting, and, but it does make a difference. Leo does work, we work collectively together on a lot of projects, because there's multiple things going on at the same time. And we certainly try to keep the council up to date on what's happening. After this, we're gonna have a short meeting to keep them up to date on what happened today. So, anyway, do you have any other, and I can let you do your election person now, if you
Yeah,
like.
there's just a little bit more information, and then we can
Okay.
open the floor then.
Yep.
So if you're considering running for council, there are some qualifications for eligibility. They're very generic, and they're on this slide here for you. So I guess first off, as the senior election officer, I oversee all the pre-election, election day, and post-election legislative requirements to ensure that we are following the standards set out in the Municipal Councils and School Boards Election Act. So if you are considering running, you must be a Canadian citizen. You must be at least 18 years of age on election day, and you must be a voter in the municipality, either a resident or an owner of property for at least 6 months prior to the date of the election. So the campaign dates, the key campaign dates include the candidate registration, which is right around the corner for the mayor, which is May 1st to September 20th. And then for candidate registration for councillors is on June 30th to September 20th, 2026. To register, you will need to contact myself as the SEO. Pick up the information package, which basically is what's included already in your hands today. And then you can begin to accept contributions or spend money on your campaign. When you do come to pick that up, you will have a registration form that you will have to sign. So whether you receive contributions or not, it's important to keep all your receipts and a listing of all the revenues and expenditures. As a requirement post-election is to submit the campaign expenses form. And this goes for whether you are elected or not. Should you not fill out and submit the appropriate post-election forms, you will be ineligible to run for council in the next election. Or if you are elected on council, you are ineligible to be a member on council until you have done so. To register, candidates must provide their names and address and identify the office they are seeking, so either mayor or councillor. Once you're registered, the candidate is entitled to a copy of the voters list for the sole purpose of campaigning. After candidates are registered, they'll have the right to canvass, distribute election material in the community. There are some rules, though, that you have to follow, such as candidates can access multi-unit residence, such as apartment blocks, anytime between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Candidates can also distribute pamphlets and other campaign material at healthcare facilities, such as personal care homes, but only at agreed upon time by the candidate and the administrator of that facility. And no signs can be within 50 meters of the election building and the main, you're sitting in the election main office for the election day. There are also some other restrictions to note. The use of candidate titles. So for existing council members or head of council, candidate cannot reuse or use re-elect mayor, councillor's name, but rather they have to say re-elect candidate's name for mayor or for council, as it is misleading. And so I would have if you had it the other way around, I would have to have you forced to take the sign down.
Picky.
It's there is a lot of rules that I gotta follow. There's a whole book. Actually, there's multiple books. We were just starting that process. I just had my first election training webinar yesterday, and it's very time-consuming, but it's very important to follow so that everyone follows the same process throughout the whole province.
Leo, can I just ask, why does the campaign period go past election day?
Election day's October.
Yeah, and it says May 1st to March 31st of 2027.
So that's because there's bills that come in afterwards, et cetera. So that's.
You have until that date to reconcile the bills, and if you're gonna be out campaigning, you're gonna be spending money like crazy, cause
Yeah, you're probably not gonna go the day after the election and say, hey, vote for me.
Yeah.
But no, that's
But
the
you'll
rationale there.
Sorry, I should know that answer, but I didn't.
No, and that's a fair point, though.
we're all here, so.
Yeah. So in the packet, there's some sample forms in the back. Those are the forms we use for the nomination papers. So there's a declaration form and some other forms in the packet. So once you've filled them all out, you return it to me, and I will let you know whether I accept your package or whether I do not. And usually it's for a reason because of maybe you don't have the proper amount of signatures, or you're missing something within the forms. But I will help you through it. I'm not that hard to work with.
You have to have your taxes paid up, right?
Yeah, no. So because we're a municipality of just over 2,300 people, you're required 1% of, and round up, so 24 signatures of eligible voters. So that is a requirement when you're going through your nomination pairs too. And so that's why you're also eligible as when you become a registered candidate, why you're able to get the voters list for the sole purpose of campaigning. There is also a withdrawal deadline. It's 1 day after the nomination period closes. In the event that, say, there's only one person that runs for, say, the head of council, and they decide, oh, after I see
Crazy
there's-
idea.
yeah, I'm not going to do it. If you are the only one, you are obliged to stay in as part of the regulations. What will happen is immediately once I know for the head of council and for councillor positions, whether there's an election or not, I have to declare it right away. For the last couple elections, we've had the head of council in by acclamation, and we've had more than enough candidates for an election for the office of council. And so we advertise that on the municipal website and on in the paper, and then we proceed with the election process. So the election day, there's a lot to it. We do go out to, we accommodate the mobile for healthcare facilities, so Cherry Creek Place, the hospital, Evergreen, Westview Lodge. We have a mobile time and period arranged with them. There's the advanced voting, sealed envelope voting, that's all prior to. And then there's also the election day where there's a process that we advertise, and we let you know when you're coming in as far as when it comes to that election day. So election day is October 28th, 2026. And then at the end of the day, whether you are elected as on council, whether it be mayor or councillor, you have to follow your election financial statements. And again, as I mentioned, that there's strict rules with that. But so there's a lot of more information and a lot of probably a lot of questions that you guys are wondering. Feel free to ask now, or feel free to come and make an appointment with me or stop in, and I'd be happy to go through a little bit more of what we do as a municipality. Talk to any of your council members and the head of council. They'd be happy to share as well. That's the point of the objective of the night tonight, is to kind of give a little bit of insight on what we all do. And so we hope to look forward to having all of you, as many people as possible, run for council. And I think that we'll leave it at that.
All right. We'll have any questions. Hopefully we can answer them, and if not, we'll defer it. Hi.
I'm impressed with the presentation by everybody and the amount of work you put on. Is there anything you think you failed at?
Oh, gosh, yeah, I look back, and I was head of council through COVID. This council was through COVID. That was quite the time, and no one was prepared for it. No one knew what to do. So did we do everything right? Probably not. That lagoon has been the end of us, all of us, right? Because we've been working on that lagoon for 12 years that I know of, and before that, I'm pretty sure, Rob, we had been doing this. So those kind of things are really, they're aggravating. Because you think you depend on people that you hire or that are appointed to you to make some decisions, And then when you get to the end of it and it's not quite right, it's like, oh my God, we're back to where we were. But we will get this thing done. But those are the things, I don't know, does anybody else have anything that you,
What's frustrating about, say, the lagoon is the engineers. You know, they set a deadline for this,
It's a what?
the engineer.
Engineering.
About a third of the cost of the lagoon is going to engineer. So
My point is,
they hold it up so much, but then they want control over what it's gonna cost you. Like, we could build our fence ourselves, we could put the grass down ourselves, but oh no, they have to do that. So the more they raise the price, the more they make, and that's really frustrating for us.
and I'm coming here from the board I belong to,
right?
and, we are disappointed
Mhm.
in the whole thing. They came here 6 years ago and sat with you,
Mhm.
we said we would take over the community center
And you did?
with your support.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't get your support. We appointed a representative
Mhm.
with the frontline staff.
Mhm.
We were expecting a counselor. We were promised they'd help us with our insurance. A week before our insurance came due, we were told we couldn't do anything about it this year. They don't know why. Now, that's just a bad answer. You don't know why.
I don't know who you talked to, but I can assure you that if there was a reason that we couldn't do the insurance, it must be a reason, and it wouldn't be just
And
because.
that's my point of, when you sit back and say, well, I don't know, then I'm
I think
okay
though,
saying.
if you look at what a council does, you do a wonderful job and I appreciate what you do. It's really good to have that senior center open, it's good to have a place for seniors to go. But I also know that we started the museum back up. And, you know, they work on that on their own too. Like every, you know, the Legion works on its own. Every place that you go, they work independently. And if you need something, then you can come and ask. But
We did. We did that.
I don't remember if you asked, I don't remember.
The three of us
to be
here,
honest.
Tom Campbell, Gary Zotter, and Ernie Crowe was there. And we sat and said, we were taking over that
Right.
building.
Right. If you wanna chat with me after, you're
I
more
would
than
love to.
welcome to stay
Yeah.
and we'll have a chat, because I can't solve this right here, right?
And my point of coming here was because every time I phoned and I asked to talk to Judy Swanson, a councilman, well, none of them are in.
No, we don't live here.
We don't work in here.
But
We don't
could
work
not-
here.
Couldn't the answer have been, they're not in at the moment, give me
Mine-
your number and they can phone you?
Every phone is listed on the website, every phone.
So
We
I
all
want to go
have
right
our
through the
own,
list.
I have a cell phone that's listed. No one has called me on my cell phone, so I'm just saying that we are not hiding. If we weren't in the office, perhaps you could say to the girls, could you contact Judy and get her to call me, or however. I
Okay.
mean, I don't know. I didn't hear anything from the office saying that you wanted to talk to me. But, having said that, I would gladly talk to you after this meeting. Okay?
Fine.
Any other questions?
Could I just mention something I forgot
Sure.
to mention earlier? Like, you think you're not gonna make a difference, or there's some things, you know, what's gonna happen. And what happened to me when I was just a rookie here, they wanted to bring natural gas to Boissevain. It was gonna come down from Brandon, it was gonna go to Dalrain, to Killarney, to Boissevain. This was the rural council, and we had the decision, if we turned it down, there was going to be no natural gas in Delray and none in Killarney. 3 of the councillors on council were against it. 2 were for it. The Reeve back then only voted on a tie. I know he was in favour of it. So as I was in the position, if I was against it, it would die. If I was for it, the Reeve would pass it. And there was pressure all around. We had people come and stand here when we came for the vote. In fact, after the vote, I got poked in the back by a guy and was called a traitor. But I talked to my wife about it, and I said, well, I gotta do what I think's best. So,
Yep.
and if, you know, like I said, we went for it, we got passed, the actual, because we're getting, paid taxes for the pipeline going east, west and north, that covered what the subsidised, it was a subsidising it that annoyed the other councillors, but that subsidy was basically paid for by the taxes got from the pipeline. But the cream on the crop was, we were told when it was then AgPro that built the elevator, there was no actual gas, no elevator.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think to myself, thank goodness I made that decision. But sometimes it can be a very important decision. But, you know, that's my little story about that anyway. So.
Great question.
Yep.
Dave, when you dealt with the natural gas there, was that on the municipal council or?
Yeah, it
the
was.
council
Yeah,
like
it was.
this?
It was municipal. I don't think.
It was the rural.
That's what it was.
a
It was
rural,
when-
yeah,
it
yeah,
would be Morton.
Yeah,
It was
was
two.
rural.
Okay, so my question is now, do you feel it's better now that the municipality and the town is together?
I've still got mixed feelings on that, Greg. I don't know. I've been rural through and through, but now I've got a business in town, or my daughter actually has now. And I think it depends. It caused a lot of problems in a lot of municipalities because the taxpayers, there's more taxpayers in the town than the country, but they've got all these acres to pay taxes on, and the people in the town could think, well, you know, get more, like when you change mill rate and amalgamation, we've had kind of a nightmare with amalgamation, really. I mean, we've made it work, I think, but before, I was against amalgamation, put it that way.
We were forced to amalgamate,
Yeah.
as you know. This wasn't a decision that was made by any council. When you look at a lot of the councils from around, this council has done really well, and we have, like I said, we're really glad we have people from both urban and rural on here. Are you gonna get a solid mix of both? It's difficult, but if you're voted here and you become a councillor, you're going to represent both. And as long as you do that and you know that going in, that you're not going to be representing just the rural or just the urban, you're gonna I remember being asked about the gravel roads, which is an ongoing issue in my life, and I've never driven a grader. I have no idea how this works, but you know, we hope that we have people that we hire that know what to do, and the best you can do is back the people that you have and make sure, you know, and do we take the brunt of things? Yes, as a council, you do, and you better have a thick skin. I mean, I'm gonna tell you that, because if you're gonna be upset when someone is upset with you, you're gonna be a long time upset. But if you look at the overall of what has been done in this community, and I'm very proud of what has been done in this community in the last 10 years. I really am. I think it has moved ahead considerably, and I think that this council has a lot to be very proud of. But do you take the brunt? You bet. Every time there's a road that's not working right, every time there's a pothole, every time there's something, you know, you're gonna get the phone call, or you're gonna get an email, or you're gonna get, I go to the store, I go to the grocery store, and John will say, like, how come it takes you an hour to go to the grocery store? I said, well, you chat, right? That's what happens. And that's part of being the job in a rural setting. Everybody knows you. And so there isn't an off-site, right? Like it's, but if you know that, and if you're okay with that, and it's okay to say, I don't know why this went wrong, but I'll talk to him after to make sure that we fix that. But I don't know, I mean, we deal with 100 things every time we get together, so if something is missed, it's not by intention. I'm just saying, it's just not by intention. But overall, it's a great job, and you know what goes on in your community. That's the other thing. You know what goes on. You're aware.
Leo, getting back to the election part, Chrissy had up on there, the mayor, oh, go back to it. For the mayor, it's a certain time, and then for council.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a different time.
okay, okay, if there's 3 of them run for mayor, and there's your council one also, that's all the same day, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah. no,
When the vote is done?
yeah.
Okay, then the ones that don't get in as mayor
Are
or
done.
head of council, they automatically go down to the council level
No.
then?
No,
They're out.
they're
No,
out.
they're
out.
done.
And they become a part of an advisory committee.
They become, yeah, they become a committee of some sort. No, that's how that works. If you
Yeah.
decide to run for mayor, you make that decision. And if there's
Yeah,
4
no,
people
no, it's
running for
just-
mayor,
The council part, I just wanted to know, so there could be 3 guys or
Yep.
people that are missing for your council then, correct?
yeah,
If there's a
Mhm.
vacancy, then there would go through a by-election.
right.
So if there was, say, only 4 people ran for council, and we had 3 people run for head of council, we would have an election for the head of council, and the 4 members that
Would
put their
be
name forward
acclaimed.
for council would be acclaimed. And then after the election, we would have a by-election for the vacancy positions.
Just fill the vacancy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering how you're gonna.
And then if there's
look
a,
at the seats.
Yeah.
if there's a vacancy again, then there's a whole nother process, and actually it comes back to, at that point, the option for council to either decide whether they wanna go through another election, or they can actually, collectively decide, hey, we would like Craig Barwick to be on council. Let's approach him, and then we can appoint him as being a member on council.
Also, if you do get on council or the councilors, is there any set amount of, boards that you guys have to sit on?
Ask Judy, she
She's on- she's the boss.
We get voluntold what to go
She
on.
made us.
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
There's always a set amount of communities.
Yeah,
And we split them up,
every split.
but then you can volunteer.
Yeah.
If there's
Yeah,
the
some-
aquatic center committee.
Yeah.
That's not a full-time one, but you can volunteer to be on it.
Yeah, no, I just,
Yeah, normally,
It's a choice.
a mayor would try to put the person in a position that they'd be comfortable with, to begin with, for sure. But it would be good if you could be on more than, like the committees could be rotated, so that you know every committee is a little different. So as a mayor, I am on committees, but I can attend any meeting, and I go to a lot of the different meetings, just because I need to know what's happening. But when they come to council, back to council, every councillor will say, these are the meetings that I attended this month, and they'll talk about those meetings, and they'll give us a report. So that's it as a mayor, you figure it out. You know, and if Mike gets too grumpy about his, you know, then I say, okay, Mike, we'll find something else for you to do.
We haven't done that yet, though.
No, we haven't.
He does get grumpy.
she likes to know what's going on anyways, doesn't she?
I just,
She bosses.
I just want to add something about the amalgamation and the disposal of the ward system. I think this is a tremendous way of being a team, and it really binds us all into the same format of getting things done, and we're not elbowing each other out of this and that because of priorities. I think it's a tremendous way of creating a good team, and we've been doing that, I think, really well.
More to George, I mean, 4 years ago, I could care less about the sewer system. I could-
Now you're
Out
so
there-
onto it.
But out the farm,
Yeah.
I could care less about the town,
That's right.
or town water, right? Now I have some understanding of it, and vice versa, they're understanding what I deal with getting to town,
Yeah,
right?
It's good to have both. It's really good to have.
it is.
But you can't pick that. You just hope that enough people apply and that the voters decide who's gonna be the next council and mayor.
And you prioritize the budget that way too, and it really works good.
I don't know if Dave would agree to this, but prior to amalgamation, we worked very well as a rural council and an urban council. We had joint meetings, we discussed things, it worked really well.
No, we did, yeah,
Yeah.
we're a good team,
It was a
yeah,
good,
for sure,
we
yeah,
didn't,
yeah.
we don't always agree with what's going on, but the majority rules, so that's what
Yeah.
once it's done, it's done. So,
Yeah, that's the other thing. We don't all agree, and we just don't. That's good. You shouldn't. But at the end of the day, once the vote is done, the expectation is that that's the vote. right? And,
And what we have to remember is Boissevain-Morton is a community.
yeah,
I've preached this for quite a few years. We're not urban, we're not rural, we're a community. And we have to have that mindset. But there's still some people that don't feel that way, so.
any other questions? Yes.
What do you foresee being the most significant issue that the next council will face?
Housing.
Lagoon?
Yes.
Housing is a huge problem for every community. We have no place to rent. The renting is, we have a fourplex being built in the spring. We have a consultant that is working with contractors to try to build more housing. That's going to be your biggest concern coming up. It's also, I hope the gravel pit will make a huge difference to the rural. We purchased a gravel pit and we've had a company come out and we have lots of gravel for the next foreseeable future. So that's a huge thing for this municipality because we've been fighting with gravel since day one. Our lagoon will be built this year. How's that? And then you have the water plant will be the next. We keep referring to our water plant as the new water plant. It's 25 years old, right? So it's not a new water plant. So that's part of the strategic plan that we did, is that these are the specific things, and everybody thinks that their thing is the best, and they need that done, but we have to look at everything. So if you're on the next council, those will be the priorities going forward. And I would suggest that the next council will do their own strategic plan and get that in focus so that you can go forward and follow that plan. So that you're not just, because, we do this to Leo quite often. I'll be like, oh, I just heard this. and we should be doing this, and we should go, but you can't. You need to make sure that there is a strategic plan and that you're gonna follow it. So I don't know, does anybody else
And if we
have?
wanna grow, we know our water plant has to be up to snuff, we know our underneath has to be up to snuff. We know we need housing for people to come in and live here. So, yeah, we have some challenges ahead and I think we can make them happen.
Yeah,
We've done good so far, but
we've been working on an extra daycare. I mean, with growth and with young people coming into our community, we're going to need that. The rink has been an issue for the last, 20, 30 years probably. I hate to say, but I skated in the rink. It was fine then. I don't know why when I was a kid. So it's not new. That's going to be an issue, and every time you do something like that, you're going to have his and yes and no. You're never going to get everybody to agree that's the thing to do. So you need a strong council that's going to have a purpose, figure out the money, figure out how to do this, and get it done. That's how you're gonna have to do it. So those would be what I would think are the next council. Anybody else?
What about sewage?
Well, sewage we've been doing a lot on the sewage and maybe Doug can talk about it, but we've been, instead of replacing underneath, we've been putting liners in the sewers, so that you don't have to dig up the entire street. You can actually put a liner in, which is really interesting. And we've done a lot more because we're able to do that. So we were doing like a block every year, I think it was. Well, at that rate, you're gonna be, every year you're gonna be digging up a street and forever and ever and ever, because you're never gonna get it all done. So we've tried these, and so far I believe they're working really well. But, if that's the key, if that's the way to do it, then that would be the way we do it. But we've set aside money in every budget for that. We set aside money for the water treatment, we set aside money for gravel. Every department has money set aside for that.
When I say sewage, Judy, I mean the new sewage plant possibly west of town that people talk about.
The lagoon.
Lagoon.
That's what
Or
we'll do.
lagoon.
It's going back where it was. It's not, the lagoon is going to be back where it originally is. It's not going west of town, it's going to be back there. We're going to put a new cell in it, we're going to have a Sager system. See, I know all this stuff.
Yeah,
I
we
know
know
what a
things.
I know what a
We have words now, we
facultative
know.
lagoon is. When I started council, I had no idea, right? So now I do know what a Sager system is. So it will have a Sager system. We will be cleaning out one of the cell that's there, but we'll have a new cell and there will be no disruption of service at any time. And that's the way it's going to work. We're not going out to the hell and gone. We're staying where we were, which is what we originally wanted to do in the first place. But we're told we couldn't. And now, by golly, we can. So that's where we're gonna do it. Yeah.
So I'm still stuck on what Rob said about not being able to build your own fences and plant your own grass because the engineers don't like that. So then I'm thinking of Rhonda and her political science degree and being on the UMM. Like, so we know that politics works different in different regions, and obviously we have tons of experience living in the country. So where's the person that has some degree of an ear to regulation and policy? Because your job gets insane with regulation and policy
Yeah.
and bylaws and things. So
Yeah.
who's the
Yeah.
head of common sense for how to make this practically work? Like the engineers driving Rob crazy. Like, who changes that?
Well, we have consultants. We also have, we just hired a lawyer, by the way. We know that when we do the lagoon, we have to put it out there and we have to get it tendered, right? And then we can look at that tender after we see how much, and that's where we are right now, right to the tender stage. So once the tender comes back in, then we can choose as a council to pick out, we're gonna do the fence. Or we're gonna do the
If
grass.
I could add too.
Yeah.
Some of the things too are, like, the lagoon is regulated by the province,
Yeah.
by the environmental
Yeah.
department, and so we don't have a say in how, if we don't like the regulations. The only thing council can do, and even as an administrator, we can lobby at AMM to make changes to lessen the burden or the restrictions, because right now the engineering is, right now it's actually, we have to hire an engineer, plus their Manitoba Water Services Board, which is the provincial department, has a full-time engineer. So we're paying already 2 different sources of engineering. And the frustrating thing from all of our perspective is that they don't have our best interest at heart. And they've just been, everything, it's always, oh, the cost is going up, the cost is going up, the cost is going up. And the reality is we're the ones collectively that keep saying this is not feasible. What can we do to bring this back down, the cost? And so that's, I guess, in a sense, in relation to Lagoon, the struggle we've been dealing with. It's been 10 years and it's ramped up in the last handful of years. But the frustration, we've met with different ministers and advocated, and we are still in the process right now to lobby to not just get us so that we can get shovel ready and begin the construction, but to loosen some of those regulations, because there's too stringent on municipalities of our size, and so the costs just go exponentially high, and it's poor value for money at the end of the day.
But we have done things like we have bought our own clay, right? So we found clay that will be suitable for the lagoon. We've done that. We've done that up ahead of time, and we have that all. We saved a huge pile of money on that purchase. But yeah, it's still under the regulations, so we still had to have the provincial government approve that clay will work for what we're doing. So, yeah.
The
Go
the
ahead.
sad part of it is, the government tells you there's 3 engineer firms that you have to deal with. You can't go outside the board. Those are the 3 that they say you deal with. We know for a fact that they make 20% profit off whatever the total is. That part hurts. So you stop and think of $10 million. how much they're making off us. And there's nothing you can do about it, it's government regulated.
But it's not just us. I
No.
mean, there's 700 delegates that sit in that convention and talk to every provincial minister and assistant minister, and AMM lobbies all the time to the right people, but environment and all that is tough to get around, and engineers have been a burr in the saddle of many, many councils for every project that's been done. So it's out there, they know we're not happy, they know like our lagoon started at $15 million for a town this size, it's ridiculous. So we, of course, went to work to try and cut costs, but we get pushback, absolutely.
You're
'Cause-
very creative, so congratulations.
Well, we try, but it's a grind trying to get people to understand
We put a
we can't
resolution,
afford it.
we put a resolution before the MM 2 years ago, and it's kind of, it was 100%, almost 100% voted in favor,
It was,
the resolution, and it hasn't amounted to anything yet, but.
We still
Well, it's a vote.
regularly meet with municipal, with the people in power, the ministers, and we've done that with both parties, and we continue to do that. And I think it's important that, I mean, the grants have to happen for a town this size to build a project like that. We cannot do it on just the number of people here. We need the grants. We need federal and we need provincial grants. So we've been lobbying, we've been out there filling out forms, doing whatever we think we can do. And I think we've done really well. There was a huge, at the last AMM convention, Boissevain-Morton was on the news. We got a huge grant. So now we are working with that grant to ensure that that grant is going to cover everything that we need it to cover, right? But that lobbying and then all that's been done in between, that got us to that grant. It didn't just come out of the sky. Like, we had to really do a lot of work trying to figure out how to do these grants, so. They're interesting. So you're gonna learn lots when you become a councillor and mayor, and it's gonna be fun.
It's important to know too that if you're relying on grants, you've got to play by the rules.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
totally.
yeah,
Even if you don't like the rules.
even if the rules, you're not liking the rules, some of the rules, but you do have to play by the rules, because you have to. The grants are instilled because you have to follow the rules, so we get it. But there are little ways that we can, like buying the clay ahead of time and doing things like that was a good move, actually. Any other questions? To me, I'm really, really thankful that you guys have come out tonight, and hopefully some of you will think about running. You'll never be bored, let's just say. There's always something to do, and it's an interesting job, and like I said, I had no idea about lagoons when I started this thing, but I can tell you everything about saggers and faculty of lagoons, and we know the whole thing now. So you learn. Whether it'll be worthwhile in my next life, I'm not sure, but right now, I think it's important to know what goes on in your community, and this is really a good way to know what goes on in the community. Yes?
I'm not very up to date on my politics or anything like that, but as a counselor, do you have a legal bit to it that if you made a mistake as council, are you held liable?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're the only level of government that is, if you're provincial or federal, you get to it, but we don't, it's on us.
It's not quite like that. Like, we have insurance, and I don't know how to explain it. We have an insurance that within the council, each one of us wouldn't necessarily.
The only
be
time
liable.
would be if you make a decision
You make a decision.
personally that goes against, that was never been approved by council,
Right.
then you can become personally liable. If that company then says, you owe me blah, 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 because you committed based on blah, 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 and you go back to council and say, hey, and council says, no, we never approved that, then all of a sudden that individual councillor becomes liable
Right.
in that situation.
And that's where, pardon me?
A lot of it depends on whether or not you're acting in good faith.
Exactly.
There's allowances.
Yeah.
In the legislation for making a mistake. There's a big difference between that and deliberately, not following the rules or deliberately acting in
Right.
your own best interest.
It would have to be malicious, like it would have to be out there, something, whoa, yeah. Any
Good
other
question.
questions?
Good question,
Good
yeah.
question.
That is a good question, yeah.
Got something on us? Yeah.
It's probably on Mike, it's probably who it is
Yeah,
on.
I got big shoulders, let's go.
Poor Mike,
She's watching.
yeah.
Oh, I know. I know.
Any other questions? I do really want to thank you for coming
Yeah, it's been
tonight. That it's been great, and hopefully you'll think about it. And if you don't, talk to somebody that you think might be interested, and have them call any of us.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, for sure, we'll talk to anybody about how this is going to work and what it'd be like. And every council is different, so what we do isn't necessarily what's going to happen to the next council. Like it'll be different, but it'll be okay. It'll be what it is, because the public knows best, right? They'll know who they want to have run this community. So anyway, thank you for coming.